Despite a midseason injury, Travis Hunter finishes as the #1 prospect in the class of 2022 out of Collins Hills High School in Georgia. Hunter, a 5-star cornerback, is described, and you hear it sometimes, but not that often, as a generational talent. Recruiting analyst Andrew Ivins saying he is smooth, explosive, competitive, and at times seems almost like a human cheat code. Here are the final rankings from our partners at 24/7 Sports. By the way, you can check out all 32 5-stars on 247sports.com right now. Hunter, #1. 2 of the top 10, and Walter Nolan and Evan Stewart are committed to Texas A&M. Hunter, of course, made a splash of his own during the signing period, making the jump from committing to Florida State and then going to Jackson State and Deion Sanders. Let's welcome the director of recruiting for 24/7 Sports, Steve Wiltfong, to talk about the final rankings there. So Andrew Ivins used the word generational talent to describe Travis Hunter. Is he worthy of that?
Well, I don't know if you remember Champ Bailey, but Travis Hunter is the best two-way player to come out of the state of Georgia since Champ Bailey. And Champ Bailey went on to Georgia and shined in all 3 facets. And I expect Travis Hunter to do that at Jackson State. This is a young man who's tied for the Peach State record in receiving touchdowns at 48, had nearly 4,000 receiving yards over the course of his career, won a state championship as a senior, and also picked off 19 passes. And a lot of those, he had to kind of bait the quarterback to even think about throwing into his vicinity. And there you go, another interception. He's incredibly instinctive. He's explosive. He's got a high football IQ. His ball skills are off the charts. And again, the best two-way player to come out of the Peach State since Champ Bailey.
We get the #2 player and Walter Nolan. He is at a Powell High School there in Tennessee. Defensive lineman, 6'4", 325. 1 of 2 guys in the top 10 headed to College Station. What do we need to know about him?
Well, like Travis Hunter, he's another state champion, had almost 100 tackles on the defensive line, which is hard to do, 28 of them coming in the backfield, 17 sacks. They played him in the refrigerator Perry role sometimes at fullback. He got some reps at tight end this year near the goal line. He's incredibly athletic. In the high school level, he could have played Mike linebacker with the way he moves. He's just a tenacious, explosive, athletic player at the point of attack with great change of direction ability, speed to power. He's got everything you're looking for. This is an amazing Texas A&M class that's chasing the record of 24/7 Sports' highest ranked recruiting class since our industry started, or since we started in 2010. And Walter Nolan's the jewel of this class.
The #3 player is the first quarterback we see, Andrew Allar out of Ohio, headed to Penn State. We have a lot of focus right now on the quarterback class of 2023 with Arch Manning. We'll get to that here in a minute. But with him at the top of this quarterback class, how do they stack up right now?
Well, you had 4 5-stars. Drew Allar led the way. Ohio's Mr. Football, threw for 4,444 yards and 48 touchdowns as a senior. His team went 13-1, had some big wins over some programs that they hadn't beaten in many years. And he's a guy that's got all the tools to go to Penn State and take that program to another level. James Franklin and his staff have had Penn State in 3 New Year's Six games. They've won a Big Ten title, but they haven't recruited quarterback like they have this cycle with Drew Allar and Bo Pabula, who's another fine quarterback that's part of the 2022 class for them. Then you have Cade Klubnik, who's headed to Clemson, threw for almost 7,000 yards the last 2 seasons, en route to 2 Texas State championships in the largest class in that state. That's the best high school football in the country. Threw 78 touchdowns, rushed for 28 more scores. He's got dynamic ability with his legs, sees the field well, makes good decisions with the football, very accurate, and can make all the throws. Then you have Connor Wigman, who's part of that special Texas A&M class, over 6,000 yards passing the last 2 years, 71 touchdowns, 18 more rushing scores in that span. He's also an outstanding baseball player. He's going to play both at Texas A&M, and I'm excited to see the growth in his game when he's really able to focus more on quarterback. You know, he's really divided his time and will continue to do so in College Station. But, you know, getting coaching from Jimbo Fisher and that staff, we should certainly see his game go to another level. And then the 4th 5-star was Ty Simpson, headed to Alabama out of Martin, Tennessee, took his high school to its first ever state championship as a senior, threw for nearly 3,000 yards and 44 touchdowns had over 1,200 yards rushing and 15 more scores. I think he's as exciting a player as there is at the position in this class, my opinion, in the discussion for 1 overall, and a guy that's going to be able to go in there, sit a year behind Bryce Young and learn and have a chance to take college football by storm as a sophomore.
We've talked about how special this A&M class is. Now, out of the top 10, there are only 2 who have not signed with universities, but one of them is Harold Perkins, who decommitted from Texas A&M. What's the latest with him?
Well, he's going to take an official visit to LSU this weekend, and he's got coaches from LSU and Florida coming in this week, and at Texas A&M earlier this week as they try and get him back in the fold. And you also hear a little bit of Jackson State buzz. I asked his uncle if Deion Sanders was coming in home this week, and he said no, Coach Sanders is not coming in home this week. So we'll see what happens with this LSU official visit. That's a program that I've never slept on. He's been there a lot last spring, in the summer, went to a night game there this fall. He's a Louisiana native. LSU's got some energy around its program right now with Brian Kelly and that new coaching staff in place. So we'll see how that visit goes. I know he really liked his visit to Florida. Again, no one sleeps on Jackson State these days. And then Texas A&M fighting to get him back in.
Shemar Stewart is the other one who is not signed anywhere. I was reading the latest article on 24/7 Sports. He was talking about from you that he has 3 teams right now that are in a recruiting battle for him. And I believe they're Georgia, Texas A&M, and Miami. Of course, you get Mario Cristobal doing what he's supposed to be doing now, trying to keep a South Florida kid here in South Florida. Does anyone have the upper hand here?
Well, I kind of like where Texas A&M still stands going into this final visit to Miami. So if Miami ultimately lands Shemar on Wednesday when he announces his college decision on CBS Sports HQ with us, I think it'll be this last official visit that would make the move for Miami. He certainly likes Miami, and Miami's trending in the right direction, already taken a couple visits since Coach Cristobal and the new staff has gotten into Coral Gables. But I just think Texas A&M, his relationship with the coaching staff, the scheme that they have defensively, his relationship with the players in the class already, I still think that they have the edge right now for Shemar Stewart.
All right, finally, I want to talk about Arch Manning because I feel like every day we're talking about him on HQ because even at his basketball games, he's got some of the best coaches in the country showing up to see him. Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, Brian Kelly now making a push as well. What is the latest when it comes to Arch Manning?
Yeah, it's a coaches convention at Isidore Newman, and only the elite head coaches are got the invite. You know, you had Coach Saban in there last week. Kirby Smart's been in there. Coach Sarkisian went back in the fall for a game, so he can't come during this period, but A.J. Milwee has been a regular over there at Isidore Newman. Lane Kiffin was in there yesterday. As you said, Brian Kelly in there, scheduled to be in there today, as LSU's trying to make up some ground, because here's who I think is in a great position. You obviously got the Texas Longhorns in a great position, visited there in the summer and for the fall. Alabama's in a great position, did the same. Georgia's in a great position, did the same. And Ole Miss did the same. LSU, he took a summer visit for like a couple hours. They weren't really in the picture, but they're trying to make up ground under this new coaching staff. I don't think Clemson's in play any longer. We'll see if some other schools emerge. I'm confident of those 4. I think the next move for Arch Manning is he wants to go out and see some of these teams practice. So while I do expect them to take some visits after basketball season for in the spring, I think that seeing these teams practice at some point and getting a feel for that is another big component for his recruitment moving forward. And what was originally anticipated to be a spring decision could now be summer or early fall.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Now we know the latest there when it comes to Arch Manning, because there's quite a bit going on when it comes to him. Steve Wiltfong, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you very soon there. By the way, for those latest rankings, just head over to 247sports.com right now. You can see the top 32 prospects, the final rankings there, all 5 stars. Make sure to head over right now. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.